I was invited to the White House to participate in the signing of the Reauthorization Act for the Support Act. And in that legislation is contained Bruce's Law. So Bruce was named for my son, who died from fentanyl poisoning in Anchorage on October 26, 2022.
Today on the Morning Edition, a mother's grief turned into motivation to fight against fentanyl on a national level. And an incredible story of progress. We have the latest from the recent signing of Bruce's Law. Plus, the Wolverines took to the Dimond Center Ice Rink to skate with fans and sports reporters who may not be the best on the ice, but still managed to capture the heart of the moment. We'll bring you the sights and sounds of the day. And later, you may have seen a particularly mischievous and deviant raccoon on social media, not only breaking and entering into a business, but getting drunk afterwards just to pass out in the restroom. We'll bring you the full tale of this furry bandit as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Thursday morning, everyone. We are having a first alert weather day today, Aaron. Those roads just keep getting worse and worse. And we do want to note the Anchorage School District has canceled classes for the day because of that.
Yeah, and as you get out on those roadways, make sure to pack your patience this morning. Those roads are dangerously icy across South Central, and as a result of that and the ongoing freezing rain, we do have a first alert weather day here in South Central to alert you to those changes. Now, yesterday we were talking about the potential that today would bring some snow in the forecast. There's still that shot later today that some snow will try to mix in at the surface. But of course, right now we continue to see those freezing rain conditions remaining with us. We'll talk more about that coming up with the full forecast on why we are seeing some freezing rain, but those road conditions will continue to remain fairly dangerous. More so those side roads, parking lots, and sidewalks. Yes, the main roads will see a lot more improvement compared to surrounding road conditions across South Central, but even then you will encounter some of those occasional icy spots. So take it easy on those roadways this morning. Temperatures are holding right at that freezing mark. However, as you head a few hundred feet above the surface, we're seeing those temperatures climbing above freezing. So this is why we do have some of that freezing rain in the forecast this morning. It will lead to about a trace to a glaze of accumulation. And really, no matter how much freezing rain we do see accumulate, it will continue to add on to those icy surfaces we've got across South Central. So winter weather advisories across South Central. We've got winter storm watches to the north as we are expected to see bitter cold conditions slip into the state. This combined with some gusty winds will lead to cold wind chills down to anywhere from 40 to 60 below. We've also got some winter weather that's going to make a return to southeast by week's end. So there's that winter weather advisory across South Central. The Kenai, that expires at noon, but the Valley into the Anchorage Bowl, that expires at 6 p.m. Travel will be difficult or could be difficult across the region. As we've already noted this morning, the Anchorage School District has closed for the day. And there's those temperatures, upper 20s and lower 30s. And again, we could see some snow mixing in at the surface, but for that morning commute, freezing rain will cause some issues. I'll have more on that in that 7-day coming up.
A mother's grief turned into a national call for action. A new federal law signed this week carries the name of her son and the weight of a fight she refused to abandon. Georgina Fernandez shows us how her determination reached all the way to the Oval Office and what this moment means for families facing the reality of fentanyl.
With a stroke of a pen,
I did everything I could to help them move the bill.
It's a moment Sandy Snodgrass held on to with her son, Bruce. She's been waiting more than 3 years for this.
We finally got that.
Bruce's Law.
He was the center of my life.
Is named after 22-year-old Bruce Snodgrass.
I said, I love you, Bruce. Please be careful out there like I always did. It's the last thing I ever said to him.
Who died from a fentanyl overdose in Anchorage in 2021.
I could not accept it, that my son was poisoned. I told my family I'm going to take a run at fentanyl, and I've been running at it ever since and will continue to run at it until we get some positive results.
Those results seen Monday. Bruce's Law is now part of the law President Trump signed in the Oval Office.
It's extremely overwhelming. You feel like you're not really there, but you know you are there.
Part of the bill requires a public awareness campaign. Snodgrass hopes that means more people receive an honest education about fentanyl's dangers.
If you never take an illicit drug, you can never die from an illicit drug.
No, years ago, did you ever think you'd be in Washington, D.C. having these conversations with the president?
I'm a clinical psychologist from Anchorage, Alaska, so yeah, no. Not even close.
Now, with her goal reached,
It is still my job to be a good parent, and this is how I'm doing that.
she says she's working to strengthen other fentanyl laws, holding on to make sure Bruce's memory always has a lasting impact.
Even though he's gone from this earth, I am still Bruce's mother.
Georgina Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
Well, a man from Eagle River and another from Ketchikan have both been sentenced in regard to separate child sexual abuse cases. Adelmi Ruiz joins us now from the newsroom with those updates. Adelmi.
Kristen, Eagle River man was sentenced on Wednesday to 20 years in federal prison for child exploitation offenses. The U.S. Attorney's Office says 30-year-old Michael Ketter contacted a sex worker in 2023 asking about girls under 12. An FBI investigation later found he possessed child pornography and had a 2019 conviction in Indiana. He pleaded guilty to attempting to coerce a minor into receiving and possessing those images. And a man in Ketchikan has been sentenced on state charges after pleading guilty to possession of child sexual abuse material. 23-year-old Logan Omer received a 25-year sentence Tuesday with 20 years suspended, 10 years of supervised probation. Omer was first arrested in 2021 after a cyber tip, and then faced a second case in 2024 after prosecutors say an, quote, enormous amount of illicit content was found while he was released pending trial. He accepted a plea deal in June 2025 to consolidated possession counts. Kristen?
All right, thanks, Adelmi. 25 trillion barrels of oil. That's how much the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, or BOEM, estimates is under the sea floor surrounding Alaska, along with 124 trillion cubic feet of gas. Of course, getting it out of the ground is the hard part. And while some are hoping to do just that, others want to leave it under the sea. The Trump administration wants to open Alaska's offshore waters to oil drilling, and their proposal includes 21 lease areas around the state. Joe Allgood spoke to those opposed and those in favor of the contentious topic and tells us more.
And so we're in the study phase. So while there may be 20-some lease sales proposed for the state of Alaska, it does not mean that those lease sales will stay in the final plan.
The earliest lease sales could begin in the Beaufort Sea in 2026, followed by the Cook Inlet in 2027. But environmental groups are pushing back hard, citing oil spill risks and climate concerns.
It's a very damaging process through every phase, from exploration to routine operations to oil spills to climate change. And we also don't need the oil.
In analysis done by BOEM, Alaska's Hope Basin scored highest on their environmental sensitivity scale. The Cook Inlet, home to endangered beluga whales, ranked third.
I mean, it's one of the most unique and sensitive and special parts of the globe.
Though in considering the environmental, logistical, and economic challenges, the proposal could change.
A 5-year program does not guarantee that those lease sales will happen. And there's no guarantee that if you have the lease sale that it's going to lead to drilling.
The Department of Interior is collecting public comments through January 23rd. The final proposal, expected fall 2026, could look very different from what's on the table right now.
When you get to the Arctic, you start to talk about a global commons. And, again, I think the United States efforts and what they pursue is important, not just for the U.S., but for the world.
Now to an update on a new vision for addressing homelessness and addiction that's taking shape in Anchorage. Tiny houses designed to form a supportive community have arrived at their municipal site. 24 tiny houses known as micro units have been moved into this space, which used to be a parking lot behind municipal buildings near Tudor and Elmore. With 8 more on the way, workers are busy with the final phase of construction. But inside, the tiny homes are taking shape. Baseboard heating, a platform bed, and small appliances. It's not a lot, but it's enough for people who don't have much at all.
We all know what it feels like to be able to close the door behind you and to be able to have your own space that is safe and quiet and that you can control. And I think a lot of people that will come into these units haven't had that in a while. And so that by itself is a very restorative thing that we can offer.
These tiny homes will focus on people who are currently experiencing homelessness and who also struggle with addiction or mental health issues and are looking for support to recover from those issues. For now, there's still plenty of work to be done, but they are hoping for a ribbon-cutting ceremony soon, currently tentatively scheduled on December 10th. Downtown Anchorage is about to shine brighter. This Friday at 5 p.m., the Anchorage Mushing District invites the public to the official lighting of its new arch over 4th Avenue at D Street. Just after dark, the impressive 15,000-pound steel sculpture featuring a 12-dock mushing team will be lit up for the first time. This celebration, coinciding with First Friday, marks the latest phase for the Anchorage Mushing District, highlighting 4th Avenue's central role in Alaska's rich mushing history. Well, the Anchorage Wolverines might not play another home game for a month, but that doesn't mean they're taking time off the ice. Wednesday afternoon, skate with the Wolverines took place at the Dimond Center, where the players helped kids and sports reporters get their hockey legs under them. Tyler Lane reports.
Well, we have made it. We are officially skating with the Wolverines, and while I clearly have a lot to learn, this has been fun for everybody. There you go. Grab your skates and come with me. We're gliding with the big boys today.
This is one of our biggest outreach events that we do for the season. This is our 3rd year, I believe, doing it, and last year we had such a great outcome that we actually had to do shifts.
The Dimond Center, taking over for the 3rd annual Skate with the Wolverines, where for a brief moment, fans used to viewing their favorite players from behind shielded glass.
This is my first time skating with the Anchorage Wolverines here.
Instead, skating right alongside them.
It's awesome to give back. You know, they show up for us every weekend, and we like to do everything we can, and it's fun to see everyone's real face.
I just had a kid come up to me and ask if I remembered throwing him a puck, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Recognize some of them, but meeting new people too, so it's good.
For the players, it's a bit of a reprieve, trading fisticuffs and replacing them with Sharpies.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, of course. That's a good break for us, and get out in the community is good as well.
Here's why the helmet's here. Even going so far as to help this sports reporter. Still a bit green on blades.
I haven't touched ice yet, so that's a plus.
And while fans await the team's return to the Sullivan January 8th, the memories made here will last long after.
I have clearly learned how to stay upright, but I have a long way to go. So I'm going to slide out of frame and leave this to the professionals. I'll see you guys later. Tyler Lane, Alaska's news source.
Look, he tried his best, and I can't say anything. I look the exact same when I try to ice skate. Having a baby is often a magical time for a family, welcoming a new little face into the world and holding them for the first time. But sometimes that special moment gets a little too tense. We'll share the story of a special baby Reed with you just ahead on the Morning Edition.
And we're first alerting you to some changes across South Central as freezing rain remains with us. I'll detail those, detail what to expect throughout the remainder of today. And colder weather heading our way, but first at sunrise, 9:52 in Anchorage, 10:36 in Bethel. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back on this Thursday, a first alert weather day. If you haven't been out on the roads yet, they are pretty slick. You might want to stay home if you can, Aaron. The roads are bad.
Yeah, and give yourself plenty of following and stopping distance. You can hit those brakes and slowly come to a stop, but you'll still skid when you encounter some of those icy conditions. So take those corners very slowly. Those slick and hazardous roads remain with us across South Central. Into the valley, we've got that winter weather advisory, both the valley as well as the Anchorage Bowl. That winter weather advisory and continues until 6 p.m. today. Meanwhile, across the Kenai, that winter weather advisory remains with us through noon. And we are seeing a mixed bag of precip, although most of what's falling is in the form of some freezing rain. And you can see it's largely taking hold as you head out towards Hope, northern parts of the Kenai into the Anchorage Bowl, and then southern parts of the valley. Now, we could see some snow embedded within this throughout the morning hours, but largely holding on to some of that that freezing rain. And that's why we're first alerting this morning due to that potential. And those roads are already becoming icy. We've got a glaze of ice that's already beginning to accumulate on some of those vehicles that have been sitting in the elements through the overnight hours. And I'd like to pull this out to show what's going on in the atmosphere. It's a really good indicator of what we can expect to see at the surface. This is the atmospheric sounding that's released. It measures our temperature, dew point, winds several miles into the atmosphere. But we only want to look at the bottom part of that with that Anchorage air sounding. And you can see that blue line that we have highlighted here. That is the 32-degree freezing line in the atmosphere. But notice just above the surface, we've got our temperatures. They're sitting above freezing, which is why as that snow falls through that warm layer, it melts and then reaches the surface as freezing rain. And so that's why we've still got that freezing rain with us this morning. And you can see that with temperatures holding near freezing, but as you head along the hillside, those temperatures are already bumping into the mid-30s. So there's that warm layer that we do have aloft. It's slowly eroding away. Likely going to see that stay with us through a good portion of the day. So there is still that chance that we could see some snow mixing in at the surface, but the bigger concern continues to be that freezing rain. And that will stay with us throughout the day. Of course, as you head out towards coastal areas of South Central through the Kenai and Prince William Sound, largely holding on to just some light cold rain, although we could see some pockets of some freezing rain as you head out towards western parts of the Kenai. Seward will largely hold on to some rain showers. So that stays with us throughout the day. We should see some dry time later this afternoon. And then as we welcome in our Friday morning, we may still hold on to some lingering moisture across South Central. And due to the nature of the atmosphere, this warm layer still struggling to erode away, we may still hold on to that potential that we could see a wintry mix, if not some additional freezing rain concerns tomorrow. But if we get enough cold air in place to help erode away that deck of warm conditions, we may see some light snow showers tomorrow. But just keep in mind those road conditions will continue to remain fairly hazardous. So there's that freezing rain potential. A shot that we could see some of that transition to some snow later today, but not guaranteed, but that potential will still remain with us. Regardless of if we see it or not, we are going to see those freezing rain concerns and those icy conditions staying with us. And then temperatures, well, they are set to drop from a high of 34 today down to a high in the single digits as we welcome in next week with overnight lows flirting with 0, if not sub-zero values.
A North Pole couple welcomed the newest addition to their family on Monday. Meeting a baby like these cuties here is always memorable, but this special delivery was different than expected. Jace Bertrand spoke with the family along with medical staff who treated them to learn about the unique story of baby Reed.
Before he came out, he decided to flip.
For Amber, who asked that we not use her last name in this story, giving birth to her son did not go as expected.
My water broke. And they did not know that he was going to be born breech until they saw his cord starting to come out, which is when, they were like, oh, this is an emergency situation.
Most babies are born head first, needing oxygen quickly, but not Amber's baby Reed.
His arm was up like this over his head, so they had to pull it out, and his collarbone did get broken during that process.
Born in Fairbanks, Reed entered the world after more than 12 hours of labor, weighing just 6 pounds and 13 ounces. After the delivery, the family from North Pole were medevaced to Anchorage.
They were worried about the lack of oxygen flow that he had.
Mary Beth Morey Holmes, nurse manager for the neonatal intensive care unit at Providence, says this is rare, occurring maybe once in 1,000 births.
It can happen for a lot of different reasons, but when it does happen, the thing that you want to do is you want to preserve the brain function as much as you can.
Work began on the hour-long flight to Anchorage. Reed's body temperature was cooled to allow oxygen flow to his brain. Just days later, Morey Holmes said treatments are working.
He's breathing on his own, which is wonderful, and is less than a day away from being able to rewarm. And at that point is when we really see just how well the babies have responded.
She said she expects he'll be eating soon. And Amber?
I've had a good experience with every single staff member that I've came across, and I think that they have done a really great job.
She's hoping to have Reed back to the North Pole by Christmas after his dramatic entrance into the world. Jace Bertrand, Alaska's news source.
You've been listening to the Alaska's News Source podcast. Subscribe to have the latest episodes delivered to your library automatically.